I've got a confession to make. I haven't been entirely truthful with you guys about something, and today we're going to clear that up. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Magic Craft. Almost every build I do, I have a step where I apply a black wash. Well over a year ago, I made a video on how to make that black wash. Constantly, almost every single day, I get new viewers asking me, hey, what's a black wash? How do I make it? And I link back to that old video. But I've been lying. Well, lying is an exaggeration. I just haven't been entirely honest by linking back to that old video. I created the most basic black wash you can, which is just water, drip of dish soap, and some black paint. And that's the recipe I used for a very long time, and it works pretty good on most terrain. I was all out of my batch and I decided to make some more, and I really wanted to make a higher quality wash. I went and I looked up a bunch of different recipes, I played around, I made a batch that was better, and that's actually what I've been using in my last several build videos. And I never made a statement saying that I changed it and I made a more elaborate recipe. I didn't want to dedicate a Friday build episode to doing another one about the black wash. But I've been saving this topic in my back pocket, that was a weird rhyme, for a week when I simply didn't have time to build anything and I needed a simple Friday episode to produce. And that's this week. Right now, I am neck deep in a full-blown construction project in my house. I have no kitchen. A week ago, I gutted my kitchen, I'm redoing it, and I'm doing it entirely all by myself, putting in lots of work, getting that sweat equity. I hope you can understand that I just don't have time to build any terrain this week, so it's the perfect opportunity to show you the recipe that I have been using for black washes lately. There's nothing wrong with the old recipe, this is just a bit better. I want to give a shout out to an old video that popped up on YouTube way back in like 2009, and it's called, I think, Less's Wash Recipe. I'll put a link up there, or this side, whichever side it is, to that video, because that is the video that I used as the foundation for creating my own new recipe. Let's make some. For this recipe, you're gonna need a little bit more than paint, dish soap, and water, but not much more. You're gonna need to pick up some Liquitex matte medium, and this is essentially just paint without any color in it, and this is crucial to making this wash apply better than just really watered down paint. You're also gonna need some sort of flow aid. Les's recipe uses Liquitex Flow Aid, and I couldn't get that myself locally. Michael's didn't have it. I will put a link to it where you can get it on Amazon, but you can also get away with using something like Jet Dry dishwasher, what's this called? Shine and Protect. It's the rinse aid for dishwasher, and this will help act as a flow aid. It can replace the Liquitex stuff, no problem. You're also gonna need some water. And again, Les's recipe called for deionized water, I think. It's the water that you can buy for irons and whatnot from the grocery store. It has no junk in it like your tap water does. But you know what? I'm not using these washes for miniatures. I'm using it for terrain. I don't care if there's some minerals or whatever. I'm just using tap water. It's up to you if you want to go through the effort of buying deionized water. It's not like it's expensive. It's just another trip to the store you may not want to take. I'm using tap water. If you have really, really hard water, really harsh well water or whatever, lots of calcium, maybe don't use it. Now here is the really important thing that makes these washes better than just the watered down paint one, and this is acrylic ink. It has a way stronger pigment in it. It doesn't have little flakes of pigment, and this is the magic ingredient to making a better wash. It has to be an acrylic ink, so that it's water soluble and it works with your acrylic paints. I purchased some black. This is called carbon black, but you want to get just black. And I also got a burnt umber because I like to do a little bit of brown in my black wash. It makes it seem a little bit more realistic. And today I'm also going to make a batch of just brown wash. It's also great if you can get some of these squeeze bottles to actually store your wash in. Go to the dollar store, grab some little bottles. This way they're really convenient. They're just giant dropper bottles. So I'm gonna make two. This is my old bottle of black. I'm gonna mix it up in here again, and then I got a fresh one for brown. And basically all you wanna do, this recipe is not that complicated. You want to do about 50% water in each of these, and I'm just gonna eyeball this. I'm also not gonna make these bottles completely full. I wanna leave some room for mixing. So I got a little bit more in the brown one. So 50% water, and then you wanna put your flow aid. And if you're using the Liquitex flow aid, the ratio you want is about 10:1 water to flow aid. With the dishwasher stuff, it tends to bubble a little bit, so I'm using a little bit less, and I just put in, a couple drops, spilling it everywhere. My shaky hands made a big mess there. As you can see though, that wasn't a super scientific amount. It's still 10:1 or even less of the flow aid. You definitely don't need a lot. I'm just gonna pre-mix this up a little bit before I add the matte medium. So now you have water that has its flow aid in it, and you can move on to adding the matte medium. And the ratio again is about 1:1 of water and matte medium. If anything, I would go more water than medium to keep it a really light wash. If you want to thicken it up, you can. And again, I'm just eyeballing this. I saw where the water was approximately before adding the matte medium. You can see here, I got a little bit less, maybe 60-40 actually, water to matte medium. Close them up again and give them a shake. Now, because of the jet dry, this is gonna actually bubble and foam a bit because it's kind of soapy. So I'm trying not to agitate it too aggressively, but I do want it to get mixed. It's mixed up pretty good. You're basically left with something that is the consistency of milk, I would say. Now it's time to add the color. For the black, I'm gonna take my black ink, mix this up a bit. We're gonna put a fair amount of ink in here, but we're gonna start low and then add more. I'm gonna start off with 10 drops, but I think I'm gonna need about 20. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about. And I get the feeling that won't be enough, but we're gonna mix it up just to see how it looks. Now to test this, I'm just gonna grab a mini that's only primed, and I'm gonna dip a bit and apply some wash to it. And that's barely affecting it. It's just like dirty water. So I'm gonna add another 10 drops or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna add a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's about 25 drops. And I'm also gonna add some of this brown. Like I said, a bit of brown I think looks better than pure black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, got a fair amount of ink in there now. And keep in mind, again, I'm making these washes for terrain purposes, not miniatures. I'm gonna test them on some minis just because I don't have any terrain to test it on. So it's a lot less crucial to get this perfect for terrain than it is for miniature painting. Also, take the number of drops with a grain of salt because it could be highly dependent on the ink that you get. It could be quite a bit different. There, you can see this is starting to look more like it should, where there's quite a bit of pigment. But honestly, I think it actually could still be darker. And I'm just going in and I'm gonna add another whole bunch of black. I would rather have my wash a little bit too dark than a little bit too light. That's just personal preference. See if that made a difference. I would say that's about right. There's a fair amount of bubbles in this right now because I just agitated it quite a bit. When you're actually going to go to use it, you want to mix it up gently and then let it settle for a bit so you don't get too much of these soapy bubbles. It's looking pretty decent. A little bit sloppy in my application just for test purposes, but that is one black wash that is definitely good to go for terrain. Now let's make a brown. We're gonna need a fair amount because the brown pigment isn't nearly as strong as the black, so I'm just gonna go in and put a couple dropperfuls here, probably equaling something like, I don't know, 30 or 40 drops, maybe even more. Let's see how this looks. It looks pretty decent. I think I could actually use a tiny bit of black just to make it a little bit richer and darker, but not too much because I don't want just another black wash. And there you go, not a bad looking homemade brown wash. This is a highly subjective process. The amount used are going to be dependent on how strong the ink you get your hands on is and how strong you like your wash. So you need to play around with it, but basically the important thing is matte medium, flow aid, and acrylic ink instead of paint. You can also buy some green ink, blue ink, whatever, and make a whole range of colors. For terrain purposes, your black and your brown are going to be the most useful, but I could see green also being very, very good. And I'm going to get my hands on some green ink because it's great for doing moss and weathering. And that's really it. Label your bottles and you are good to go. That's it for this week, guys. Again, my apologies that I didn't actually build something, but I hope that you find this video really useful nonetheless. If you like this video, hit that like button and let me know in the comments section below. If you have your own unique wash recipe, I would love to hear your tips and tricks, so let me know in the comments section. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. Check out my back catalog of other videos. I got tons of terrain building videos, miniature painting and making videos, and a series of basic videos for those just getting started in this hobby. If you want to pick up any of the supplies that I used in this video, I will put links in the description below. Also, if you need to pick up any other terrain building supplies, head over to blackmagiccraft.ca. There I have my essential equipment store where I link to all of the stuff that I use and recommend, and purchasing through those links helps fund these videos. The other way that you can help fund these videos and ensure that I keep making them every single week for you guys is by supporting Black Magic Craft on Patreon. It's the funds from the people on Patreon so graciously given to this channel that ensures that I have the time to invest in this channel that I do. I would love for you to check it out and become the newest member of the Black Magic Craft Fellowship. That's it for this week, guys. Cheers and good luck making your own washes. Peace.